What's up, YouTube? This is Mr. Willis, and this is Waking Up with Mr. Willis. You already know, first off, I want to thank the Most High God, for another day, for another chance at life. Thank you for this place. Thank you for opportunity. Thank you for pushing us along. Thank you for blessing my channel. Thank you for blessing me to have the courage to step on my comfort zone. You know what I mean? To not be embarrassed, not be ashamed, to be in a place like this, to lift my spirit man back up. You know what I mean? We're talking about big success, man. Big success. You know, that's what we searching for. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about Generation X, my generation. You know, I don't really want to talk about who failed who and different things. I just want to talk about what I think has been happening. For me, I was born in '79. I don't consider myself an '80s baby. I consider myself the last of the dying breed. Because I don't meet too many guys my age. You know, older, younger, but none of my classmates, my peers, you know? So, I go back when I was a youngin'. My dad was in jail for the first 10, 11 years of my life or so. I was raised by my auntie. She was a Christian woman. She was into the church. So she the one used to drag us to church, I could say. You know, but I liked church. I liked it when I was a youngin'. We had our church clothes. We used to be fly church shoes. You know what I mean? Sunday coming up, Friday, Saturday night, probably have our church clothes out ready for the early morning mission. You know, ironed up shoes. You know, all that shit. I used to like putting money in the collection plate as a youngin'. You know what I mean? So she was the one that introduced us to Jesus. You know what I mean? So that sparked something in my spirit, man, to know it was more. That sparked something in my spirit, man, to believe in more as a youngin'. You know, I really didn't know what was going on in the church, but I liked to be there. I liked to listen to the ministry, people, you know, clapping, cheering type thing, praising the Lord, you know? So that's what gave me a foundation to seek the Most High God as a youngin'. You know, my auntie was an older woman. You know, we kids, young, like 7, 8-year-olds, you know what I mean? And she was an older woman. You know what I mean? That had value and taught us value. You know? So nowadays, the kids that's growing up, they being raised by kids. You know, they still going through the being stripped of the fatherhood, stripped of the family. You know what I mean? But their mama's single mothers. Their granny probably just 15 years older than their mama. Their auntie is probably their age. You know what I mean? Their auntie could be just a couple of years older than it. You get what I'm saying? So they was already like unbelievers and non-believers because they're not raised in the church. You know what I'm saying? And if they did they was raised in the church, they had an understanding like something is not right here. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to say like my generation was forced to learn who Jesus was. I don't want to say we was forced to love him, but we was like prepped for that. And these younger generations are being raised by kids. No one is leading them to the church, to God. You know what I mean? No one was leading them to the truth. And that's due to kids raising kids. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, maybe they didn't feel they had time for it. But it still sparked the seed in my mind and in my heart to be a believer. And that's where we might have failed each other. You know what I mean? Because even though I went through my father being taken from the hood, taken out the family, kids after me, father been taken out the family, but the kids and the parents start getting younger and younger and younger, and they start losing that value. They didn't have nobody to just take them to certain places to get that foundation, to know Jesus is the cornerstone. You know what I mean? So it's like, when you got kids raising kids, at the same time, they don't know no better. You know, and that's something society did to our people. Like, the system somehow, like, brainwashed them, and now their parents getting younger, and younger. So that foundation is not there. You know, I was raised by, I could say, old heads. Now all this generation is younger. You get what I'm saying? And then being betrayed by ministers and the so-called church. You know, I think that's where it happened. Like, the mix-up and the missing happened. You know, it's like, once kids start having kids, they more worried about having some money. They're more worried about partying. You know? So they weren't never really worried about that foundation. As a youngin', as you know, like I said, I was in there young. That's what gave me the foundation, planted my seeds. So if you go into the church at a later age in life, it's gonna be probably hard for you to grasp what's going on. Just get the seed. Just get the fruit. You know, just get the fruit, spit out the seeds, hide it, you know? So it was hard for them to get that. And it's still hard for them to get that. Because we got youngest raising youngest. You know, the old heads still running the church, but they deceiving the kids. And they see that. You know, they won't even, the children of these days will not even allow that seed to be planted in them because they believe it's BS. You know what I mean? So that has a whole lot to do with what's going on. You know what I mean? And you can see, what like, as an older age, you can see what things are. Especially how the wisdom of God on you. You've been blessed by God. The truth is in you. Then you can really see what's really going on. So when you go into a place like that, like when I go in there as an older man, I could just see what's going on. It don't feel right. It ain't being absorbed like it was when I was a youngin'. So that's why I could understand a lot of them turn their back on the church. And once they turned their back on the church, because the church was making it seem that's all God. It's all this God right here. It's the Most High right here. So when they look at all that, they like, I don't believe you. You know? So I don't really know. I mean, well, it's going to take people like me to show them and teach them the right way that the Most High is Allah. You know what I mean? And society teach them to worship money. You got the money, you have everything you want. But in the older days, you teach them, you got God, you got everything you want. That's what she installed in me, and that's what I learned as a youngin'. So that's why the generation right now is kind of misled, because we got kids raising kids. They grandma could be just 15 years older than them. They got aunties that's the same age, uncles the same age. How that person going to teach you something? Not to say they can't, but if they don't know, if they was not taught, Because the grandma if your grandma 15 years old, she wasn't led through the church as a youngin. You get what I'm saying? Like, so that's where the misconception, like, things got messed up at. You know what I mean? Like, no father in the home, mama young, granny young, no real guidance was in the house. You know, mama probably teaching the man he ain't this, he ain't that. I was never taught that. As a young, like, nobody spoke bad about my dad. So I don't know. That's just my take on what's going on. I want to shout out to New Breed. He sparked this subject in me just to say something to you guys about this. It has something to do with the breaking of the family and the parents getting younger and younger and losing that core value. Not searching for that core value. Not installing that core value in their children. A lot of these women want to raise thugs. Yeah, that's pretty much my take on that situation. Like, and the solution is we have to be great leaders. We got to pull them up by the hand. Don't talk down to them. Don't deceive them. You know what I mean? We put our pride in the back seat and put our values in front of us. We got to reach their heart. We got to plant seeds in them. And yeah, pretty much plant seeds in them. The Most High is real. Jesus, it's power in the name of Jesus. You know that? That's what we got to teach you. And I don't want to say no one really failed no one, because I don't want to look at my part. Oh, he failed me. You know what I mean? I don't know. Give him his respect. I wouldn't disrespect him. Even if we do or don't have a good relationship. That's one thing the Bible teaches you. Honor your father and your mother. Even if you don't agree with them, that's why you just have your space. I respect space. So that's just my quick take on that, you know what I mean? Core value was set in us. The cornerstone is Jesus. I knew that since I was a kid. And the youngest is not taught that. I hear them even saying they don't fear God because they're not taught who He is. Not who He was, who the Most High is. So that's just my quick take on that, man. We gotta plant these seeds. And we gotta walk the walk, man. I'm walking the walk. So keep me in your prayers. Lift me up. I'll lift you up. This is Mr. Willis. Like, share, and subscribe. And you have been awoken.